Hello everyone, it's Shakes, and today I'm going to be going over a Reyna Advanced Guide. Now originally when we've seen this character, a lot of people thought she was going to be overpowered. I mean, she can heal up 100 health off of every single person she kills, so effectively she can go on 5-man kill streaks if she wanted to. And then later on, a few days later, some people thought she would be too weak because she has literally no utility pretty much, so if people are rushing her site, then she's going to be pretty much defenseless. Now that the waters have settled just a bit, we realize that she can be very, very powerful if used situationally correctly, but on the other hand, if you don't spend the time understanding how to use her properly, she will probably be the worst agent in the game. Again, having no utility is really painful, especially when you don't know how to use the rest of her abilities, so in a lot of cases people just pick her up and they don't really know how to use her, and that's going to make her pretty much useless to you and your team. However, with the use of this very fantastic guide, I'll be showing you guys how to become an advanced pro Reyna. Keep in mind though that if you are playing in a 5-man and you're playing at a really high rank, like if you're in the Immortal ranks or in the Valorant rank and you're playing with multiple people, she might not be as good because she doesn't have that much utility, so she can't play all that well off of her teammates because obviously she doesn't have that much information to give. She's just more of a fragging machine. But if you want to carry, if you want to solo queue to a high rank, and if you have really good aim, she will probably be the best agent in the game for you. She's the best for me. She's my favorite agent just because it gives you so much fragging potential, and if your team isn't all that good, you can easily carry with her. But anyway, with all that introduction out of the way, the first tip you're going to want to know as a Reyna player is don't try to solo hold sites or be the primary defender. As I said before, her lack of utility is her biggest weakness. She does not have the utility that a lot of other agents have, and some of the most powerful agents in the game, you know, Sage, Cypher, they're the best in the game because they have so much utility. That Sage wall is so powerful at stopping people from attacking, and Cypher's mini traps are really good if they're pushing through a site and they want to go fast. Reyna quite literally has none of this, so if they're all pushing a site, you're pretty much going to be doomed, so you want to make sure not to be the primary defender. If you're playing on a map like Haven, which has 3 sites, you're not going to want to be that guy that's solo holding A or C. Make sure you're always holding a site as a secondary defender or one doing a supporting role, because if you're the primary one or you're the only one, if they do decide to rush you, which is obviously one of the most effective ways of winning rounds, just rushing through and taking over a site, you have no utility, so pretty much if they decide to rush, they're going to stomp you. As an agent, she's way more attacking based, she's way more about the frags more than just utility and more than helping your team, so what you're going to want to do is try to find a good spot close to one of the sites, or you know, hide in an area that they probably won't expect, and then you can get a few frags from it. The element of surprise is one that you're going to definitely want to utilize when you're playing defensive as Reyna, because she just doesn't have that much utility, which makes her not a very good defensive agent. She has a lot of ability to get a lot of frags, but if they know where you are and they're brushing through, then they're easily going to kill you. Make sure you always have a teammate that has a lot of utility, like Brimstone with his smokes, or Sage with her wall, or Cypher obviously with his traps, so that if they do decide to rush through and they do decide to take the point, you will not be stranded and you won't just get run over. The next tip I'm going to be giving you guys is one that's relatively simple, and it's time your peaks with your Cloud Flashbang. She's one of the most effective flashes in the game, and if you use it correctly, you can easily get multiple kills with just a single utilization. Her flash persists for way longer than a lot of the other flashes, so that's going to give you way more time to get the kills that you need to. Remember this, because the second it pops, you're going to have a massive advantage compared to a normal flashbang, where if they just dodge it or if they look away, they're going to be able to still kill you once you come around the corner, versus with this, anytime they're looking near it, they're immediately going to be blinded and you're going to have the advantage. Of course, something that they can do and high level players will do is shoot at the cloud so it stops blinding them, but if you're smart and you are very fast and you have very quick aim, then you can see off of where the tracers are. For example, if they're shooting from the left, you're going to kind of see where the tracers are aimed at, where they're coming from. You're going to kind of be able to geolocate where the enemy is, and that's going to give you a very good idea of where you should aim when you peek the enemy. Even though they might not be fully flashed, if they destroy it, you're going to know where the enemy is, and that's just going to give you a massive advantage, because obviously if you know where they are but they don't know where you are, you're probably going to win the battle. Keep this in mind and just understand the power of your Cloud Flash and use it effectively, and always remember to kind of use it in weird ways because it can go through walls, which is pretty cool, and the more you use it in unconventional ways, the more effective it'll be. For example, I recommend kind of shooting it higher in the air, so if they do decide to shoot it, they're going to be more far off your body than, for example, just shooting it right in front of you, because I've seen so many Reyna players that when they decide to peek, they just put the flash right where they're going to peek, so you know it's right in front of them, but then if the enemy starts shooting at it, you're probably going to get shot at as well. Try to put it a little bit higher in the air or somewhere that's kind of far away from you, because then if they do decide to shoot at it, they're going to have to make a much larger and much less accurate flick onto you if they do decide to go from killing it to killing you. I think I'm a little bit of over explaining this and over analyzing this, but pretty much just try to put your flash farther away from you, so if they do shoot it, they're going to have a harder time getting their crosshair back onto you to get the kill. The next tip I'm going to be going over is to use your E ability to get out of bad situations. This seems pretty simple, but I rarely see it be done, and if you do it effectively, it can be way better than just getting the health of the person you killed. Your E ability, if you didn't already know, requires you get a kill, and after you get a kill, if you kind of suck their soul, then you're going to be able to go completely invincible and also move quite a bit faster, so it's going to be way easier to get out of a bad situation. A lot of times in this game, then when you get a random pick, there's going to be enemies right around the corner, and multiple people versus one is a really hard fight to take. So if you get a kill really fast and you know there's multiple people around the corner, then all you have to do is just click E on their soul orb and you're going to be completely invincible. You're going to be pretty fast as well. It gives you a little bit of a speed boost. It's so much more useful than just trying to get extra health and get an extra overheal, as a lot of people do, because obviously you're going to want to get as much health as possible. But a lot of people think, hey, I know they're all rushing, but if I get this health, then I'm going to be better off. It's not usually the case. Not only can they see exactly where you are, because when you use your Q, it kind of makes a line directly from the dead body to where you are, so they're going to be able to kind of locate where you are from, you know, the line from the dead body to you, so they're going to be able to know where you are, which gives them a pretty big advantage in of itself. Not only will they know where you are, but it's also going to obstruct your view. There's like a massive laser coming into you. That's going to make it quite a bit harder to aim, especially if they're peeking around the same area where the laser is coming from. My main point here is just know when to use your Q and know when to use your E, because obviously, yes, health is great. Having 150 HP is way better than having 50 HP, but having 150 HP doesn't matter if you're instantly going to get one-tapped because you didn't move out of the way when they're all rushing through the site. Her E ability is rarely used, especially at the lower levels, but it's just so effective, so just kind of understand when you should use your Q and when you should use your E, because, you know, switching them out and using them in the right situation is going to make you way better of a Reyna player. Also, make sure to use it as much as possible when you're in your ultimate phase, because you're obviously also going to go invisible, and just being able to relocate without them knowing where you're going to reappear is so effective. The next tip I'm going to be going over is going to be super effective when you're using your ultimate and when you're clutching and when all your teammates are screaming clutch or kick despite the fact that half of them have only 3 kills. It's going to be to adjust early to your ultimate. Now, I know I'm not exactly the only one who has trouble sometimes getting kills with their ultimate. It shoots really fast, it reloads really fast, you move at a little bit of a different pace, you know, everybody's lighting up. It just feels a little bit different, and it's a little bit jarring for a lot of people, and I understand why, because it feels like all of your mechanics are kind of flipped on their head. Everything just moves at different times, your guns shoot different, all that kind of thing. So if you want to be effective with their ultimate, which is one of the most powerful ultimates in the game if used right, if used wrong, it's obviously pretty bad because it depends entirely on your own skill, but if you do want to use it right, you're definitely going to want to have practice with it. So actually turn it on maybe in a custom game and see how it feels, see how the weapons feel, because the recoil is different, and I've been messed up by the different recoil numerous times just because it feels so much different. So if you're used to bursting from a certain distance, it's going to actually run out of bullets way faster, so your burst is not going to be quite as accurate. So just kind of keep all those things in mind so you can kind of be really good when it actually comes down to the time that it's important. You don't want to pull out your ultimate in the last round of the game and then realize that your recoil is way higher because you have a vastly faster fire rate, and because of that you're going to just be missing more shots. So just kind of practice with our ultimate to feel how all the weapons feel, because if you don't and you try to use her ultimate with a weapon that you're not familiar with, your recoil is going to be thrown off, your aim is going to be thrown off, your movement's going to be thrown off, everything's going to be thrown off, and your professional bronze team is also going to throw you off the roster. Bottom line is you're going to have to practice with her ultimate, because if you don't, it can actually throw you off and make you play worse. This happened to me numerous times, and I've seen people who are really good on Reyna, but the second they pull out her ultimate, they just get destroyed because they're just not used to how it feels. Most of the ultimates in the game are super easy to use. Sage is just make that dead guy alive. Raze is just shoot noob tube. Sova is just laser arrow through walls, but hers is completely different from all the other ones. It actually depends on user skill, which isn't something you would usually expect from an ultimate. Usually an ultimate is just I click this button and I have an automatic advantage, but here it might not even be the case because it takes some practice to get good with it. Now the final big tip that I'm going to be going over in this video is also relating to your ultimate, and you have to understand that you are not invincible. You don't have crazy damage, you don't have crazy movement. If you die forever. If you die in the game, you die in real life. Maybe that's a little bit of an over-exaggeration, but it's really easy to get caught out, even if you have the ultimate, so just don't think you're invincible. Play very cautiously and play just as you would before, but just understand that you have a little bit of an advantage with your firing rate and a few other factors that'll make it a little bit easier, but just because that doesn't mean someone can't just running one tap you as they always tend to do. Offensively, she may be way more powerful, but defensively, she can just as easily be taken out, so you have to keep that in mind. Play as you would normally, be very cautious. Again, you don't have that much utility, so you have to be very smart on how you take on situations. So overall, just understand that while you're in your ultimate, you are not a god. You are not a race player with a noob tube in your hands. You are literally just a 14-year-old who downloaded bad hacks. That's pretty much what I'd equate Reyna's ultimate to. It feels like I downloaded hacks from a shoddy, weird website off the dark web. But anyway, it's not going to make you invincible. Make sure to be cautious. Make sure to understand you have low utility, so you're going to have to take on situations with great awareness to be effective. And with all those things in mind, understand Reyna is not the worst in the game. She's not the best in the game, but she can definitely be the worst in the game if you have no clue how to use her abilities. Personally, I think she's going to be the best agent in the game. If you're playing style like Iron 3, but you know you're at least a gold player, you can solo carry with her so well because obviously you get so much health off of your enemies. She's all about getting those frags, and a lot of worse players don't understand how to defend against her flashbang because it is so powerful. So overall, if you want to pick up a good agent that's really good at solo carrying and really depends on your own user skill to be able to carry, she's going to be the #1 agent for you. And yeah, that's going to be pretty much it for the Reyna Advanced Guide. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Like if you enjoyed the video, or if you liked the video, it's kind of in the name. Subscribe if you haven't already. Comment any suggestions that you might have, and I hope to see you guys all in my next video. Peace.